a failed reporter, is bonded to an alien entity, one of many symbiotes, who have invaded Earth. But the being takes a liking to Earth, and decides to protect it. Today we're recapping Venom, a probe belonging to the bioengineering organization Life Foundation, discovers a comet coated in symbiotic life forms while exploring space for new habitable worlds. The probe returns to Earth, with 4 samples, but one of them escapes and crashes into Malaysia, causing the spacecraft to crash. The Life Foundation rescues the other 3 and brings them to their San Francisco research lab, where they learn that the symbiotes cannot survive without oxygen-breathing hosts, who frequently reject the symbiosis and die as a result. In a confidential document, in the custody of his fiancée Anne Wang, an attorney preparing a litigation defense for the Life Foundation. Investigative journalist Eddie Brock reads about these human experiments. Brock confronts Carlton Drake, the CEO of the Life Foundation, about the trials, and both Brock and Wang lose their jobs as a result. As a result, Wang calls it quits on their romance. Drake's symbiosis trials are getting closer to success. 6 months later, however, one of his symbiotes dies due to carelessness. Dora Skirth, one of Drake's scientists, approaches Brock and tells him that she disagrees with his tactics and wants to expose him. She assists Brock in breaking into the research center in order to look for proof, and he discovers that one of his acquaintances, Maria, a homeless lady, is one of the test participants. Brock tries to save Maria, but the symbiote that possesses her transfers to his body without his knowledge, killing her. Brock manages to flee and soon begins to exhibit strange symptoms. When he asks Wang for help, and her new boyfriend, Dr. Dan Lewis, discovers the symbiote on examining Brock. Drake kills both Skirth and the remaining captive symbiote by exposing them to each other. As a result, Brock's symbiote is the only known surviving specimen. Drake dispatches mercenaries to retrieve the symbiote from Brock, but it emerges as a hideous beast around his body, fending off the assault. It later reveals itself to Brock as Venom, and explains that the comet is on the lookout for planets where symbiotes can infect and consume the populations. Brock accepts Venom's offer to be spared if he helps the symbiotes achieve their goal, and Brock grows to appreciate the symbiote's extraordinary abilities. Brock breaks into his old employment to turn in proof of Drake's misdeeds, but he is confronted by SWAT officers and is forced to morph in order to get away. Wang notices Brock's metamorphosis and takes him back to Lewis' office, where the symbiote is slowly eroding Brock's internal organs. The symbiote has 2 weaknesses, according to Brock: high-pitched noises and fire. Wang utilizes an MRI machine to help Brock separate from the symbiote, despite Venom's assertions that the organ damage can be reversed. Drake's men then apprehend Brock. Meanwhile, Riot, the 4th symbiote, hops from body to body on its way from Malaysia to San Francisco. It forms a bond with Drake, who agrees to transport Riot aboard a Life Foundation space probe in order to collect the remaining symbiotes and bring them to Earth. Wang reluctantly joins forces with Venom in order to save Brock. When Brock and Venom rebond, the latter claims that his contacts with Brock have persuaded him to help safeguard the Earth from his kind, and the 2 seek to stop Riot and Drake with Wang's help. As the probe lifts flight, Venom destroys it, causing it to explode, killing both Riot and Drake. Brock returns to journalism after the incident, while Wang believes Brock is no longer tied to Venom as a result of the occurrence, and that Venom died in the explosion as well. However, the 2 stay covertly linked and go out to kill criminals in order to protect San Francisco. Brock is invited to interview incarcerated serial killer Cletus Cassidy, who promises carnage when he escapes. In a mid-credits scene. Please subscribe, and hit the button like, for more.